Hello then, welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel this fine Friday. My name is Jedel Cabrera. I'm happy that you've joined us for a political conversation, a conversation that will help President Ruto's administration, the opposition, and you as the general public. My name is Jedel Cabrera here with Herman Manyora. How are you?
Good.
How have you been?
Wonderful.
What a week it has been.
Oh yeah, well, full of things.
Full of prayers. Azimio now are praying also in rallies.
Yes. Everybody's praying. I think we should start this program with a word of prayer.
Bless this show before we start.
Yes,
Amen.
Yes.
Let's talk about this ultimatum that Prime Minister Raila Odinga has given to Ruto's administration and the response that the administration has given to him. He says in 14 days the cost of living doesn't go down, the taxes are not reduced, they will take mass action. First of all, for people that don't really understand what mass action is, how would you compare the rallies that have been there and what mass action really is?
Mass action basically means people like what you call demonstrations, protests, picketing. They go like you say we move through Nairobi and deliver our protest, maybe memorandum to an office responsible for taxes or for what, and generally making life difficult. If there's mass action in Nairobi, you can't open your business.
Okay.
You cannot open. It simply means forcing some forced close down of the country or some section of the country.
But will it be peaceful demonstration, or you can't really tell what mass action really is until
you
people
must
are
go
on
with
the
your
ground?
history. Yes, you must go with your history. Mass action in this country has not been entirely peaceful. Yeah, it may not. You may have very little control over the boys, and the police also easily get excited, irritated. Then they excite the crowd. Then everything gets out of control. Because the police have not been trained to handle civil mass action, which is like in other countries, they just offer protection and they withstand provocation. But here, the slightest provocation, the police will charge, and the police throw tear gas just like they need better training on that aspect. So because so far they have not received that training, things will always get out of control.
Do you think the conversation from Azimio Brigade has shifted from Ruto's legitimacy to the cost of living? And if it has, should we give them time? Should we give Ruto's administration time? As we had this conversation last year and we said, look, too soon. Let's give them a couple of months, like 10 to a year, so that we can talk about cost of living. You know,
even as we say we need to give Ruto time, we also need to be realistic. If you give somebody time and in the process people die, so what is the point of giving time?
But he said
you can give him time to do certain things that are long term, medium term. But there are certain things that must be done yesterday, not today. There are certain things you will have to do yesterday. These hungry people, and you see today there was supposed to be a demonstration.
Yeah.
I think the people have talked to Rigathi Gachagua. And he has pushed the meeting. They have pushed their demonstration to next week.
Yeah.
Then he's also meeting them on 1st of... How many groups will you meet? Same was in Eldoret, Gatundu. And it will catch fire the whole country. Everybody will be demonstrating. Will you be meeting all of them? So instead of wasting your time trying to meet these people and telling them this is our government, please, you are going to make it collapse. Instead of doing that, do what is right. What is right can be done today, not tomorrow.
But they have said,
because finally Ruto will do it. Let me tell you, I advise them for free. Surely, why don't they even pay me one day? Nione tu naitwa, naambia unaitwa kwa office of the president. Nafikiri naitiwa kazi. Naambia Manyora hatuna kazi, lakini haka kabahasha ni dollars ziko ndani hivi. Enda kula, wewe ni mzee mzuri.
1,000, 2,000.
No, I'm beyond that. Something good which can send me into retirement. Now, what I'm telling Ruto is this. Listen to me. You will do these things under duress.
I'm saying he says...
Do them now. Do them now, not under duress.
He said the price of unga has been reduced from 240 to 180.
Forget about what the president is saying. The president is just talking politics. But I'm saying the reality that unga... I was home the other day, okay?
Yeah.
Last time I was home, which was after Christmas, I left home around, I think, 4th of January, if I remember.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Then I think I went back again once, but not long, 1 day or two. I buy food for my workers and things like that. It was 140 for this thing Louis has called goro goro. Goro goro. A 2 kilo tin, they call goro goro. 2 kilos of maize. It was 140, 130, 140. Now, when I was there last week, it is 200. Those size of 200, 180, 200. Maize flour, even the shops, is going up. Those are not things you can say, wait. Itafika 180, tumefikisha 150, itafika 120. No, do it now because you'll do it under duress.
Why do you think, Raila, as I asked before, the question of legitimacy isn't as strong as it was when the rallies were starting, and now it's about cost of living? Why do you think it has taken that shift, or there's some sort of suppression towards talking about Ruto's legitimacy and more of cost of living?
There are two reasons. The first reason is that how can you talk politics when people are dying? So Raila is just being realistic. You cannot go talking to people about legitimacy, stolen election, when they are dying of hunger. So you talk about the immediate. The immediate is hunger in the country. I have grown up knowing it is Maasai cows which die. I've grown up knowing it is Turkana cows and those arid areas. But now we are witnessing cows dying in places where I've never had that happen because of drought. The sort of drought we now have even in Western Kenya is impossible. Then if the president is not aware of that, then there's a small problem with the people when they get to power. You must be aware that the situation is so bad in the country that you cannot talk about tomorrow. You will have to do it now. And my advice to the government, reduce the price of maize flour now. Unga.
Yesterday you said.
Yesterday. Reduce the price of fuel, petrol and diesel now. Reduce the price of electricity now, not tomorrow. Tomorrow will be too late. You'll be doing it when you are on your knees. And history has shown me, when I've read about revolutions, when people want you to make changes and you dilly-dally, when you begin making them, it is what they say, too little,
too late.
Too late. They never get satisfied with what you do. When you are on your knees and the opposition is spitting fire, people will even give credit to Raila, not to you. So if Ruto doesn't want Raila to get the credit for reduction in the cost of living, he must do it now or yesterday. There's no tomorrow for him.
But when you hear him say, watulize boli, Rigathi Gachagua comes and says, we are not Cerelac babies. When you hear them say that, and these guys have given them an ultimatum in 14 days mass action, what runs through your mind?
They say the taste of the pudding, the taste of what?
The pudding is in the taste.
Yes. So, they may not be Cerelac babies, they may be Mau children. Let's wait and see. Why has he gone to meet these people, business community? Let's wait and see. We'll see whether Rigathi Gachagua is a Mau son and whether he's not a Cerelac baby. When you hear vuvuzelas in Nairobi, because they are coming, that's the time, that's the taste of the pudding is in the tasting. So he's tough. Let's see with 300,000 people in the streets of Nairobi. That's when we shall see whether he's tough. But I'm advising them for free because I'm a good man. Do it now. And don't tell me it is not possible.
And that's what.
Just look at your electricity bill. Or when you buy token. Look at the literature. Look at the story on that bill. The story. Your story. The story you see on electricity, cost of electricity. Is the story you see if you look at the breakdown that brings you the cost of petrol at 180 or thereabouts, 178 or something. It's the same story. This levy, some of the things you can't even believe they are there.
But Devin D says they did not promise Kenyans
to reduce. They did promise, but it's not whether you promise or not.
Cost of electricity.
Whether they promised or not is not the story. But the truth is they promised. In the manifesto, it's there in black and white. But that's not even the story. The story is now, unless you bring down the cost of electricity, you cannot even talk of manufacturing in this country. Just stop. Let Chinese and Turkey people bring things in this country. You can't manufacture anything without cost of electricity. Unless you bring down the cost of diesel, you can't talk of any business in this country. You can't talk of manufacturing. And yet it is not difficult. There are only two reasons why you cannot bring down the cost of diesel, the cost of electricity, and a host of other things. Only two reasons, including unga. The first reason is you are under the spell of IMF and World Bank. They don't want to hear subsidies. They don't want you to reduce anything. Because you are under their spell, you can't do anything. Even what you see makes sense, you can't do. The second reason why these things are expensive is because of the cartels. The cartels, the cost of electricity in this country is impossible. Because of reasons which even primary school children can tell you. Because of greed, because of billionaire thieves. You look at how you generate your electricity, then how you sell it. Vis-a-vis if you are buying it even from Uganda, because we have a line from Uganda. It's a no-brainer. Electricity is expensive. Fuel is expensive because of levies which government can reduce or remove, but they cannot do so because of IMF and World Bank. These things, electricity, diesel and the rest are expensive because the cartels are inside there, have factored their money inside those things.
Could it also be that the Kenya Kwanza administration know how much of political prowess they are and how much they have held the country politically, that they can do things the way they want to do things, despite Raila's call for things to change?
It's called impunity. It's called impunity. Is when you get power, you get to a point where you think you are even a god. These people have been in power for a while. A former minister from the UK, now a Christian, was a key speaker in one of these useless things they call prayer rallies.
Oh.
They are called prayer breakfast.
Yes.
Annual prayer
breakfast.
They invited a born-again Christian, a saved man, a white man, who had been a minister. And he told them, I listened. He said, when I was made minister, I began doing things, making mistakes and, overlooking things, breaking the law and, until it got to a point when I thought everything I was doing as a matter of right. I was above everybody. I had the power to do things, to mess everything. It's called impunity. He told them when he was in jail, he looked back and could not believe at what impunity can do to a man. You get to a point when you think you are a god. Nobody can do anything to you. And they listen to him speak. But the same leaders are doing what he was telling them, landed him in jail. Of course, that's Britain. So he went to jail. Here they will go to another different type of jail. They will be impeached by the citizens of this country in a revolution. And they will find themselves sitting in some corner and wondering, you mean we couldn't see that?
Yeah.
You mean we could let people suffer until they smoked us out of office? How? If you are the president and you are now out of office, because you can get out of office, you ask yourself, you mean I could listen to some white boys from IMF and not reduce the price of diesel?
From where you see...
You mean I couldn't deal with these independent power producers? You mean I couldn't? So that the electricity was beyond the reach of Kenyans and manufacturers? Because I couldn't deal with these independent power producers? You ask yourself those questions. And that's the message he was giving them. I think Safari Park, seated with nice tables, napkins and... They were not listening.
I'm asking from where you sit now, yes. Can we at least give them benefit of doubt? Kenya Kwanza administration, can we at least say...
We can. We have said we can give them 6 months, 1 year. But now, animals are dying. People are dying. Somebody called me from Mukambana, a friend of mine. I have some little interest there. He told me, now you need money for food for your human beings and for your animals. Ng'ombe anaitisha chakula ya duka na wewe unaitisha chakula ya duka. And it's happening right at home where I come from, of all places, in Western Province. Hay has never been a product you could sell there. And now people are buying hay. Kidogo tu, unavumilia, you forgo food, you buy hay. One bale used to be 250, now it's 400. Unachukua kidogo, unaweka kwa maji, unaweka na chumvi ndani ama molasses, inalala, inafura. Unapatia ng'ombe size. And you didn't eat. Can you wait 6 months.
The president,
when situations are that bad.
The president said they will demonstrate until they tire.
Fine.
How long though can things last the way they are from your own perspective? Because Raila has given them 14 days, and it seems like after 14 days we don't know how things will be. How long can you tell people the situation in the country can last if they continue, saying Raila can go on and demonstrate, and Raila continues says we will continue demonstrating and do what and make sure you're out of government? How long can this last?
I have lived through this time. I've lived through the changes that have taken place in this country. Ruto may be younger than me, but is not that young. We have seen what these things can do to our country. We have seen what has happened in other countries, even around us. We have seen people break Moi down. Moi of all people. He has had to retreat. Moi has had to give in. Really? Ruto thinks he can be that tough? Tougher than Moi? Moi was not just tough. The laws allowed him to do certain things the laws can't allow you to do today. The times Moi ruled in are quite different. I tell these people, and I want to repeat again for free, they should actually just even buy me tea. Since they are too mean, they can't give me money.
Umetoka kwa dola.
Waninunulie tu chai. Watoto wanasema Manyora anapenda chai kwa studio. Let them just buy me tea. There is not much you can do. If only 20,000 people, only 20,000 people or less. Have you seen how many people in Omondi were how many?
About 10, 15.
Were they even 20?
No.
Did it hit international media? If 100 people demonstrate with placards in Nairobi, with the tricks of the camera, if you watch the CNN, you'll think the whole of the country was in Nairobi. If 20,000 people gathered in Nairobi, the man who says he's not Cerelac,
you've said we will know that.
I don't want to say what will be happening to him, where he will be seated. Moi said this, and I've repeated many times. What Moi said was, hii state house huwezi kulala kama Wajaluo wanapiga kelele huko town here Nairobi. So what does Gachagua and Ruto think they are? Nobody should invite that kind of thing. You cannot manage it. 20,000 people. I'm not saying of the people who are in Uhuru Park. Allow me to say this. I was talking to two senior Kalenjin people, very senior. One is heading a CEO of a serious national, a senior public body, CEO. Another one, a chairman of a powerful parliamentary committee. And we are talking about these things. And I could see the mindset. They said this will get to nothing. Then I asked them, actually by the time I left, what I had gone to look for, they could no longer even consider it. They were annoyed with me. They were so mad. I told them, on the 30th or 31st of January 2018, Uhuru Park, the crowd that went to witness Raila's swearing in. Of course, I think there was a game Raila was playing with other people. But let us, we didn't know and we still don't know. But there are two things. Number one, did anybody go there not knowing the danger? The people went there. Are you sure they didn't know there was danger? And there's a young man who said alikuwa amepanga watoto yake. Sema niko na watoto wangapi? 3 wasichana. Nimetoka Busia kama nimewapanga. Si Busia ama Mumias. Nimewapanga. Nimegawa mali yangu yote. I'm ready to die. And that's how the TVs were switched off. I was on Citizen TV, they were switched off. I had left NTV with Miguna when he went to Uhuru Park via Intercontinental Hotel. Me, I went to Citizen. The TV was switched off when I was there, when we were just beginning the program. When that man said, nimepanga mali yangu kidogo, I'm ready to die. The people who went to Uhuru Park that day knew the risk. In fact, what did Mudavadi say? Here he said, hey, bunduki zinaweza kulia huko. Number two, I asked these people, if those people march to State House, what would you do to them? Whether you ate Cerelac or not, whether you are Mau Mau's son or not, what would you do to them? They are Kenyans. And the Constitution gives them the power. Sovereign lies with the people of the Republic of Kenya. And they are saying, we are coming to claim what is ours. What would you do? We should not we should not chest thump and allow ourselves to get to that position, to that point. No, we must do what there is to be done today to avoid situations like those, because they never help anybody. Not Ruto and Gachagua, not Raila, not Kenyans. When things get there, where you are asking me, after 14 days, for example, there's no beneficiary. We are all losers. So we must do what it is. I advise the president finally, stop listening to IMF and World Bank. Lower the price of hunger, lower the price of diesel and petrol, lower the price of electricity, stop contemplating increase of taxes. And anything that might be seen as harassing businessmen must be pended. This is not even the time to look for licenses. Suspend the collection of licenses. Times are so hard, you cannot knock on a businessman's door asking for a license. Stop all those things. And then let's begin to make sacrifices that are necessary to see us go through these hard times.
Okay, we gotta wrap it at that. Guess we'll have to wait in the next 14 days whether we'll see changes, and after that whether we'll see mass action. Till we do talk again, have yourself a lovely rest of your day.